And we're live. Yeah, for those wondering, my finger is still hurts. I can still bend it. I could last week, but it still hurts. It's still swollen. You know, really hurts when you jam it the wrong way. Let me tell you, like jeans and my cell phone in my left pocket. Bad idea. So anyway, but yeah, it's better. So got a couple topics to start off with, and then we'll get into the questions and all that. But one just came up as I was waiting for 7:30s to go live. Scrolling through the Facebook and saw something that was, well, just amazing. Bad, but you know, so I was, sitting here scrolling through Facebook, waiting for 7:30, and it, randomly, TikToks or shorts will come up on my Facebook feed because Facebook, and it was this TikToker testing a battery with a test light. And because the test light lit up, the battery was okay. It's like, really? Really? That's how you test batteries? Wow. And you're telling that to people on the internet. It's crazy the stuff that some of these, crazy what people will put online as fact. But anyway, Big Sean Auto, I've got a job. It's been a while. I did a whole video about it, but yes, I am currently employed. But there won't be any content from that shop, because I'm not putting where I work out there anymore and dealing with harassing calls from, let's just say, people that I pissed off on some of my videos. So, but yeah, I'm employed, so we're all good there. So anyway, yeah, confirming a battery is good with a test light. Gotta love people. All right, so last week I believe we talked about it, but the NASTF had come out with a new... Yeah, Big Sean, I remember. You're one of the few people that met Bam Bam. That was a long time ago. Joe Mama, crazy what some automotive channels on YouTube put out and then argue with comments in the end. Yeah, it is crazy. But they put out a email that, either like made everybody just ecstatic or pissed off. Basically security, you now have to have a license, insurance, and, basically a mini locksmith license, basically. But anyway, he, I did a video about it. Mario did a video about it, and it's, I'd like to point out, this meme, that's everybody that already can do keys, already has a locksmith license. That's the meme. I want to make that meme, but I don't want to post it online because I'll piss off too many people. But it seems like everybody that has, already has locksmith credentials and all that already programs keys and has OEM tools are the ones rubbing their hands together going, ooh, I'm going to make more money, more money, more money. And that's everybody that seems to be all for it. And I'm going to get a little political here because, you know, they're like, oh, this is saving the industry and they're going to lock us out. And it's like, no, it's more government outreach is, you know, this isn't going to save anything, you know, just like I said in my video, you know, prohibition didn't stop drinking in the United States. The war on drugs didn't stop anything. This isn't going to stop car thieves doing what car thieves do. All it's going to do is lock down the industry. All it does. So, but I just think it's funny because how polarizing it's been on both sides. And it's pretty much everybody that already does like mobile programming is like, you know, I'm like, this is going to make them a whole lot more money. They're all for it. They're like licking their chops. And everybody else is kind of on the other side. I mean, I just calling a mobile guy, so it's not even a concern for me. It doesn't lock me out of anything. You know, so because 9 times out of 10 when I'm, you know, it's not add a key, it's all keys lost or, you know, programming all new keys, and it's not worth it for me. So anyway, I just thought that was funny because it's just it's easy to see where people fall in that little discussion. Nick L, what's going on? Big Sean, yeah, he's cool. Yep. Yeah, no, Bam Bam's cool. How is everybody else doing here? I guess since got any questions out there? Since, you know, Aaron Townsend, what's up? How's everything at the shop, dude? If we could build a PC-based scan tool, what would you build? A Zeus clone would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I would go for a tablet style, kind of like any, you know, Autel launch scan tool. And, you know, I don't know how on that note, I'm surprised there isn't bootlegs Zeus clones out there, is really because it runs on Windows. I'm surprised nobody has been cloning it and putting it out there. D Young 58 just bought a launch scan tool because of your videos. Awesome. Joseph Espinoza, long story, but anyway, local Dodge dealer can't program 2003 Dodge Ram because they don't have a DBR3 anymore. Trying to think. I believe even Snap-on should be able to program that key. You just need the skim pin number. But yeah, I guess the 2003 you could not do YTech with. You'd have to have a DRB3 because I don't even think the emulator for DRB3 works to clone keys on, to put keys on that. And that, yeah, well, when you program keys in Dodge, it's kind of weird because you have to like program both in the BCM and the PCM. But I think the hardest part for you is going to be getting the pin number because it's being that old. Pork chop fabrication. Do you know what happened to Justin Dow? Do I know? No. I know, he got divorced, was dating, married. I'm not sure. I think he married a service advisor at his dealership, and there was a whole lot of drama there, and he accused her of a lot of stuff. Don't ask me if any of it's true. I have no idea. And then he kind of ghosted. I mean, he's not on Facebook or anything. Let me look. Let me see if he's even still in my Facebook friends. No, he's not even on Facebook anymore, according to my phone anyway. So I don't know anything else other than what was on his Facebook, so I really don't. Advice on changing from an auto body to being a mechanic. I mean, it's... I assume if you're going from auto body, you weren't a painter, you were a mechanical in auto body. It's pretty much the same stuff, just you have to deal with electrical. And the biggest thing I would suggest is learn electrical. It's one of the biggest things that, you'd have to deal with a lot more in auto repair over auto body would be the electrical side of it. Nick L. Drama Dow. Yes. But, that would be where I would focus is, watch Scanner Danner's videos. Watch all that kind of stuff, learn the basics, and then continue on. And it's nuts and bolts and electrical stuff. So you should pretty much be able to just slide in once you have the electrical if you don't already. Aaron Townsend, I guess I could Google it, but there are any good PC scanning manufacturers. There's only one kind of sort of and see if I can find them real quick. All right, here you go. Aaron, Auto Ingenuity is pretty much, well, that's not good. Auto Ingenuity is probably the only one that I know. Okay, here you go. Scan tool that's really built as an OEM tool other than like VAGCOM, and VAGCOM is you should have the VAGCOM cable at the shop still. Really good for Volkswagen Audi. Excellent for Volkswagen Audi. This is just I have not used it in years. I had a friend of mine that had it. They used to work at the shop actually, and he used it and was pretty happy with it. But this is pretty much the only non-OEM laptop-based scan tool that I know of that's still out there. Everybody else has gone to Android tablets, honestly. So oh, program. Sorry, I thought you were talking about Joseph. Sorry, I thought you were talking about keys. Replace ECM with a programmed issue fixed, but no COM with IPC. No gauge is working. That age of a vehicle, no COM with IPC, I would be highly suspecting the replacement ECM is bad. That would be the direction I would probably go. I would check for COM out of the ECM to the IPC. You should be able to check it on a Dodge product pretty easily. But if you have no communication coming out of the ECM, it's a bad ECM. You should have drawn a blank on the name of that network system, but you should have signal out of that ECM to the IPC. So my guess would be a bad ECM. Joe Mama, fishing from the company pier, always a bad catch. Brandon Melstead, thank you. I was thinking about doing the Gearhead School that you made a video on. Check him out as well. Cool. Yeah, he's got a really good program. Dakota Alexander, I started my first job Monday at a Ford dealership. I'd start off hourly, then after 60 days I'd go flat rate. Any advice? Learn the warranty system, because it's going to be really important. While you're hourly, learn as much as you can about how to properly process warranty on your end of it. Not, warranty claims. You don't do that kind of stuff, but how to write up vehicles. All of the proper codes you need for most repairs to make sure you get paid on everything. Make sure you know everything you can learn about the warranty side of it. The customer side is easy. It's just, fixing cars, customer pay. The warranty is where it's really important that you work the system and know how to work it. Figure out, how far you can push, warranty claims on your end to make sure you get the most amount of money for whatever you're doing. And I can't give you advice on that specifically to Ford. I've had several conversations with Ford dealer techs years ago on how to work the Ford system, but it's been several years since I had that conversation. But that's the biggest thing, is learn everything you can about how to, I say manipulate, but basically is to get the most you can out of warranty. Everything you check on, everything that you do, figure out if you can get paid on it, because that's going to be a lot of your work as a flat rate tech at a Ford dealership is warranty. At most dealership, a chunk of your work is going to be warranty. So maximize, maximize how much you can make off warranty by knowing how to do warranty. Excuse me. Kay Kovler, how difficult would it be from an experienced electronic technician to be an automotive technician? What kind of electronic technician are you talking about? You talking, working on PCBs? You talking about working on appliances? What kind of electronics are you working on? The bald mechanic, hard-hearing, have auto fixed light. Does anyone if you can sign up to access gateway module. Auto fix light, I do not believe is on the gateway module program with auto auth. I think I have. And search did not come up right. Auto tool vendors. Oh, it's not gonna. Anyway, I do not believe it does not let me. I don't have my password saved on this PC, so it's not letting me look at anything because I'm not logged in. So, but I do not believe it is an authorized tool. Don't quote me on that, but I don't know for sure. Jolly Roger, best brake caliper slider pin lubricant if you're in the Northeast Rust Belt. Best lubricant is Slide Glide or 3M silicone. Don't use any of the green or purple stuff on it. Silicone grease, Motorcraft, GM, Slide Glide, which is just a brand name of silicone grease, but silicone grease. You can get it pretty much at every part store. That's what I've used for years on slide pins. I don't use it on like backing pads. I use purple stuff from Permatex, but the purple stuff in Georgia seizes up with the heat. So use just silicone paste. Joseph Espinoza, yeah, but lady is from Canada. I'm in South Texas. Have to send it back for fix, then wait. Nobody has a PCM already programmed. She's stuck here for another week or two. Dude, that sucks. Lady is from Canada and she's driving a 2003 Dodge van. Jeez. She's got some cojones. That sucks. I mean, it's the problem is that old of a vehicle. I've had. I mean, I'll tell the story. Mike Salazar is involved in this story, by the way. We had a Ford F-150, and unfortunately, it has a known problem. When you program the replacement PCM, the programming screws up the vehicle speed sensor calibration like crazy. Like you're driving through the parking lot idling and it says you're doing 80 miles an hour. Everything else about the truck was perfect. This was several years ago, and tried programming it multiple ways. I did with Mobile Programmer. They tried a bunch of different things. They tried a bunch of different fixes on it. They could not get this issue fixed. And this was not an issue with before the new PCM. We went through several PCMs trying to fix this issue. Wound up sending the original PCM because it had a bad coil driver or injector driver. I don't remember, but we sent it to Mike Salazar Diagnostics on YouTube, and he attempted to fix it. And unfortunately, he could not. The board was foobarred. That's why, and there's never been a video about it because the board was foobarred. And we only knew about one problem, and there was actually like 2 problems with the board, and his testing found it had another problem, and he couldn't fix both those problems. And we were never able to fix that vehicle. We literally put the program PCM that was replaced, and I think unplugged the vehicle speed sensor and said, sorry, here you go. I don't know what they charged the customer. It technically was not my car. It was Zach's. And it was many years ago, and it just turned into a complete cluster. But that was, it's the problem with older vehicles is that it's hard. So I have sympathy for you and the customer, but I don't think there's anything around the fact that it probably is a bad PCM. Like I said, check the communication lines between the IPC, see if it's got communication, then you might have just killed an IPC or blown a fuse or etc. like that, but it's not good. Comfort Medic HVAC. I'm about to purchase a 2014 Explorer 3.5 non-turbo, 151,000 miles dealer serviced all its life. You're welcome, Jolly Roger. Well, all I can say is that water pump hopefully has been done. Because should have the timing chain driven water pump. I mean, by now it's probably been done, but the water pump is probably, I think I've done injectors on those vehicles, obviously gaskets and stuff like that. But other than the water pump, I haven't had too much trouble out of those 3.5 non-turbos. The turbos go bad, the coolant lines go bad, but I haven't had a lot of issues other than the water pump. Daniel, so some things do you get in a good habit at your Ford dealership? Newer Vics always pull your Oasis before hooking up computer, find your TSBs, then when those fail, then file pinpoint tests, write everything you do, then write each PPT, A1, I did such and such. Yes here and no here. Do that for each test you have to perform, and lastly, you run your time the whole time. Daniel's got some good advice for you. Like I said, I've gotten tips. It's just been so many years. I don't know how much stuff of that was relevant. So Joseph Espinoza, I figured, like your videos. Yeah. Charles Johnstone, I got a job at Christian Brothers 19 months ago because I could change oil. Now the shop can't find another A-Tech, so they're going to pay me $35 an hour with guarantee bonus, one A-Tech and then B-Techs. Hey, man, make that money. If you're doing good and they're willing to pay you, take the money. Hallowed be thy game. What are your thoughts on anti-slip wrenches like Flank Drive Plus or Right Grip 2.0 as a primary set? I'm worried about the open end marring fasteners, but others have told me it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. I bought early into the Flank Drive. My wrenches are all Flank Drive, not Flank Drive. Yeah, they're Flank Drive Plus with the teeth on. I've got the Milwaukee set. Pretty much my primary wrenches all have teeth on them. The only place I would not use any sort of teeth type wrenches is on like hydraulic lines that you're not replacing. If you are like a power steering line, a transmission line with a hex on it, get a flare wrench. Because I can tell you, they're soft and you'll get it off with the flare, the teeth, but going back together, it's going to be a little rough because you have changed the shape of the fastener. On a hardened bolt, not a big deal. So yeah, that's all I use primarily. T. Corrales, can you shed light on them Williams versus Snap-on stuff? As an example, Snap-on sells an impact socket set for a lot, and Williams sells what looks like the same exact set, but far less. Is it all the same? Snap-on will not confirm or deny, but they're selling them for a lot less, which should tell you they're using a different grade of steel. I can't confirm that because they don't release that information or anything like that. But chances are they're not given the same treatments as Snap-on sockets, would be what I think. I only have anecdotal evidence of Williams sockets not lasting as long in use, like impact sockets from Snap-on and Williams. The Williams wears out significantly faster, but it's only anecdotal. I've never tested it or anything like that, so I don't think I'm speaking the gospel and people, trying to roast me. It's all I've heard, but my thoughts are it's probably not the same quality steel processed in the same way as Snap-on, would be my guess. Also, Williams has a lot of import stuff that is basically, Harbor Freight quality as well, because they've got a lot of Taiwan tools. So make sure if you're looking at Williams, you're looking at the US made Williams and not the Taiwanese. So it's really important because they have two very separate lines. Like they'll have wrenches that look identical, and one's Taiwanese and one's American. So just something to be aware of. T. Corrales, does Snap-on own and manufacture it, or is the other way around? Everything US made is made on the same exact line as Snap-on tools. They just have different processes for them. That's why they look similar, but they're, marked different ways. They're probably broached the exact same way, but it's all down to what the metal is. Unless it's Taiwanese, then it comes from factories overseas. Getting back to going from an electric tech to automotive tech. If anyone knows how to read schematics, repairs PC inverters, power supplies outside of being more physical, would it be an easy move? Oh, yeah. Read schematics, repairs PCs, power inverters especially, are way more complex than anything a car has. So yeah, you should be fine on that. Yeah, so it would be an easy move. PCs can be fun. I built my daughter a new gaming PC for her room. Just a little HT PC. And a whole lot of troubleshooting later, I finally got it online because Gigabyte, the motherboard brand, has some messed up issue with the Ethernet connector, the NIC. So that took a while to diagnose, but yeah, that's pretty much a pretty easy transition. Brandon Melstead, do you have an update on the Matco air hammer? Yeah, it still kicks butt. Still works just as good as it ever did. I've had zero problems out of that air hammer. Charles, hey, since we're talking tools, Matco, maybe they already did, but I bought it today for $10. They have a 3/8 head to stick into a 1/4-inch drive ratchets. Oh, yeah. No, that's... Comfort Medic. Yeah, that's been a thing for a while. Snap-on's done it for years. I've got conversion ratchets like that. I've never been a fan. I just grab 1/4-inch. I mean, I have 1/4-inch up to 15 millimeter. Bigger than that, it's probably not going to break. But Comfort Medic, talking about the Explorer, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. The biggest problem I've had with that car is the water pump on it going bad. Haven't had too much trouble other than oil leaks, and I've replaced a few injectors on them, as well as, general coils, spark plugs, stuff like that. So other than the water pump, they're decent cars. Haven't had too much trouble. Sunix all the way. I really like Sunix. Sunix is good. Quick Wrench Tool Junkie, what's up? Manny, what's the best time for a tech to upgrade their toolbox for a bigger one? When they got the money. Reasonably, you want to be completely out of room or so stacked onto everything else that, you're having to empty a drawer to get one tool out. That's kind of when I look at a toolbox as being too full, is when you're constantly have a bunch of stuff on the floor as you're digging, trying to get a tool out. And you're doing, Tetris, trying to get it all back in to close your drawer. That's when I would look at buying, a bigger toolbox, is when that's your situation on an often basis. Always make sure you have, you're not going into a bunch of debt. Make sure you can afford it. Make sure you're not going stupid. You don't need a wall you don't need a wall of Revel X's like I do, unless you have a lot of tools. But that's the big thing, is when you're constantly having to jockey stuff. That would be the big thing, is and you can afford it. Don't feel pressured into getting a new toolbox just because somebody else in the shop got one. Daniel G, how do you know if your tool guy is screwing you on a trade-in? I'm going to assume you're talking about a toolbox. It's difficult to say. Heads, period, this is what's going on. But generally look online to see what your trade-in is going for on Craigslist, approximately, find the same kind of model. Colors mean less, but may mean more depending on what color it is. But look at what comparable toolboxes are going for, how much he's giving you for it based on that. Look at how much the retail cost of the toolbox you're buying is. Like go on Matco's site and configure the toolbox the way you want it, and then see what he's doing. The biggest thing you want to look for is, when are deals coming? Like you can get really good deals when the rock and roll truck comes by for Snap-on, when their various expos happen because there's discounts to the tool dealers. And that's where really when you want to buy a toolbox. Like my Revel X's were both bought based on the Matco Expo. My first Revel X was bought by my dealer. Actually, I didn't order it or anything like that, but I didn't know it was coming because it was a new model. And then my second one, I bought on an expo and got the hutch for free, basically. So, but yeah, look at your market. 9 times out of 10, they're probably not screwing you, but the way you want to look at it is it's kind of like buying a new car. It's kind of the same process. He made jockey money around between the toolbox and the new toolbox just to try to make the numbers look better for you. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the bottom line of how much you're paying for it. Corey, do you have any advice, or would you recommend someone wanting to get out of the aviation field into the automotive field? I mean, it's up to you on getting out of the aviation field. I personally don't like signing my life away, everything I do. It's my understanding of the aviation field. You're pretty much, other than some aspects, different technologies and propulsion and that kind of stuff will very easily transfer over to automotive. So you should have no problem getting somebody to hire you. I would study up on internal combustions, but that's kind of about it. It's going to be just nuts and bolts, electrical, which you should already be, fairly familiar with in aviation. Low voltage. I think 48 volts is the highest aviation goes, right? Don't quote me on that, but it should be fairly easy to transition. So my advice would be, if you want to do it, do it. Charles Johnstone gave the same advice. Toolbox. Blaine, I keep the snap-on stuff at home nowadays. Being a service tech, I'm not afraid of losing stuff anymore. After losing a few $100 of just 2 missing tools. Yeah. I feel you on that. A lot of my recent tool purchases are all about replacing stuff I've lost. I've Aspy 19. I preferred a fleet of carts versus a giant aircraft carrier and cart setup. A lot of the stuff I own, other than like an epic roll cart, won't fit in a roll cart. Currently I have the largest cart that Matco makes, and there's plenty of stuff that physically will not fit in there. I set up my cart to wheel up to the car and never leave, other than specialty tools. So whatever works for you, Aspy. Jolly Roger, what is the purpose of red and yellow dots on tire sidewalls? Balancing. That's what they're there for. They're high and low spots for the tire. Or not high and low spots, but heavier and lighter spots of the tire. Basically, line the dot up with the valve stem, mount the tire. It should be the easiest it could be to balance, but if you don't, you just have to put a little more weight on it. Paulo, what's up? Bill, what's going on, dude? Yeah, it has been a while. Let's see where... I love when that... Charles Johnstone, affordable tools can be modified for jobs without any problems. Yes, I did a whole video about that, Charles. A political potato 8563 Gator looking at you, Mike. I have no idea what that means. Charles, you don't work on diesels anymore, but they make a big difference on diesels. Trust me, I have had my fair share of modified tools. Most of the time, they don't live for very long. They usually get chucked or lost or whatever at some point. Chris, is there a separate line item a guy can request so every nut, bolt, Panel and harness retainer removed gets put back at the dealer. It's frustrating to find so many missing fasteners on a new truck. That does suck. I'd like to point out that while it's common there's way too many techs that do that. I hate that. Put everything back. You know, that is annoying. Is why not like I had a car that it had like I want to say 30,000 miles on it, and you can tell the PTI at the dealership was literally pencils. They didn't do anything. Like all the peels were still on the car. All of the peels. Like the, engine cover on the emblem peel was still there. There was, all sorts of just stuff that showed that they didn't do a PDI. When they were supposed to. I'm like, not even the detail guys did the removal of that stuff, and they should have been cleaning that. So that was crazy to me. But yeah, no, unfortunately, it's people sometimes. People are lazy. A lot of times that gets knocked up to flat rate. I would say as much of that is just people being lazy as it is anything else. Flat rate doesn't help the situation. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, I understand your frustration. Snap-on Tools. I love your videos. Thank you for the free advice and thank you for your time. It takes to do all these. We'll appreciate it. Phoenix, Arizona. Joseph Espinoza, stopped buying Snap-on. I bought a 3/8 deep socket set for $68 about 20 years ago. I asked how much the set is. $380. Yeah, they have gotten really, really, really expensive. T. Corrales, any suggestions on pry bar storage in on a box? Snap-on sells the magnetic hangers for the side of a box hutch, but I've heard they can't hold the weight and be afraid of dinging my box. Anything that hangs the pry bars out and dangles is going to scratch your box. So, because when you put it in there, it's going to ding your box. I don't have any suggestion for that because there's no real good case for where those can go that's fully encased other than a deep roll cart. Most of my pry bars are in my deep roll cart, other than my really, really, really long, big, thick Snap-on. And it literally has to go in one drawer because that's the only drawer it fits in. But there's not really any good way to store them, unfortunately. I wish there was a better way to store them other than the roll cart, but anything you get is going to be open on the bottom. It's basically going to open at the top. You slide them in, you're going to scratch your toolbox. So unfortunately, I don't have any good solution for you. I put them in my roll cart, and then the one big one goes in my drawer. 6-foot pry bar all the way up to 55. Yeah, I mean that's the problem. Is I don't know of any good solution for that. Now, Matco used to sell you can mount it to the wall and not your toolbox, so you don't have to worry about scratch and stuff. I think Matco has a permanently mountable one for a toolbox, used to at least, that you might be able to mount on a wall and lock them up. And OTC used to have a just rack for them. It literally sat on they sent it to me years ago, but it was completely open and thick as hell. But it just hung on the back of my workbench because it literally didn't go anywhere else. And I never did a video on it because I didn't have any good place to use it. So sorry about that. Artist Lifestyle, flat rate 2024. Yep, of course. Charles, is there anybody else having issues with can cut drill bits warranty replacement? I have not tried to warranty a can cut since I lost my dealer from my independent dealer where I bought them from. I pretty much just use the Matco or Max, so I can't say anything. I haven't tried to warranty them anytime recently. Chris, I'm guilty as we all are of having a few extra parts left over. Yeah, mostly brackets and stuff like that. But if all I worked on was the same thing, you should have a good idea where everything goes. Just saying, yeah, no, I'm not defending them. It irritates the crap out of me. You know, they should. They literally should. And like I said, might be flat rate, might be just lazy, but it's still annoying. Charles, some extra parts left after doing a job. I'll let flat rate explain that one to you, unless the part you purchased came with new fasteners. Yeah. 2000 MCR, thoughts on the NASTF aftermarket school validation program. How soon is it really going to be needed? They say 30 to 45 days, and I would believe it. I don't think it's going to do what they want it to do. Honestly, I think it's people that steal cars are still going to steal cars. They're not going out buying an Autel IM, 550 or whatever it is, and programming new keys. They're using tools to steal cars. They're not going out and buying Autels. They're going out and getting some Chinese code replicator and, hooking it up and doing it that way. They're not using real scan tools or our scan tools. They're going to steal them anyway. So I don't think it's going to have its intended purpose. And it seems like everybody, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream, but like everybody that is all for this rah, this is going to save the industry, are the people that are profiting from this change. Mobile programmers, people that already have locksmith licenses, and they're all, drooling it, waiting for that extra money. I don't think it's going to do anything. It, personally, it doesn't impact me at all. I got a mobile programmer come out, he programs, I move on. So I just don't think it's going to have the intended result of what they want. Artist Lifestyle, tips on buying new tools, how to manage your budget. The biggest thing when it comes to new tools is manage your budget, know how much you can spend, manage how much you can spend. That's the most important thing. Don't get in a huge amount of debt for tools. And, so you know how much you can spend before you buy a tool, because that's the big thing. I know, especially starting out, you got to buy a lot of tools, but you have to make sure you don't go into a bunch of debt that you can't get out of. I don't want people getting into, massive credit card debt or, $10,000 of debt on the Snap-on truck or Matco truck, Mac truck. Manage your money. That's the most important thing. After that, now, once you know how much you can spend, and this is going to be hard, prioritize the tools you need the most. Meaning you need, Torx bits. Well, let's look at, I want that cool new Milwaukee Impact, but I really need, Torx bits, Milwaukee Impact Torx bit. Buy what matters most. What's going to give the biggest impact to your day-to-day life. Prioritize what you're going to buy and what you can afford. Don't go for the big shiny. Go for what you use the most. You know, if you're constantly having to buy, you know, one socket to replace a socket you broke because that cheap set from Taiwan that you've been getting through with, maybe it's time to upgrade that set before you buy a different tool. Prioritize what you need the most. And that's the best advice is don't go into a debt, don't go broke, and prioritize. Jake Waters, what are your top Mac and top Cornwall tools? Cornwall is easy. The massive pick set they have, I love my set. Don't have a Cornwall dealer anymore, but they're chrome. They're nice. Use them all the time, especially the 90-degree one. Mac, really like, I think they're discontinued now, their import wrench set. Those got beat to hell on the old alignment rack. They're kind of semi-retired now because I put them at the alignment rack when the old shop got the alignment rack, and everybody in the shop used those wrenches for a long time, and they took that abuse. So they're really good, but I think they discontinued them for the RBTB whatever wrenches. Those are probably my top two. Mars from Cali. The shop I work at has no scan tool, only my Autel Elite, and we do a lot of programming. My warranty is about to come due. I asked the owner to help me buy a new subscription for $12.99. He says he can't. What? What? I would begin as saying, I guess we can't do that no more. And see if he comes up with the $1,300. Because that is crazy. You're basically, I mean, the shop has no scan tool, so they're relying on your tool to do a lot of what you do, and he's not about to help you out. That is crazy. That is the definition of an ESO. Evil shop owner, by the way. He's just pocketing all that cash from you and saying screw you. So I being an asshole, you should not take that. So I would say, well, I guess we're not going to be able to do this kind of stuff anymore. MG, I had my little Honda up on a jack stands, had to fix a frozen caliper. No, I noticed when I put it in gear to test, the traction control light comes on and shuts everything down. Is that normal? Yes. That is 100% normal. You got some wheels working faster than others. It's going to piss off the system. Sergio, what's up? Wow, that was a big... Yeah, Charles. Mars from Cali, I would suggest finding somewhere else to go work. Yeah. Find a different job. Renegade, what's up? MG, I'm looking at the Pittsburgh Impact wobble sockets. I can't afford snap-ons. Will the Pittsburgh ones hold up? If they're the ones that have the spring wrapped around, the answer is going to be no. Save up a little more and get the Sunex kit. They will last a significantly longer than the Pittsburgh. But yeah, Sunex will give you a much better service life than the Pittsburghs. Rich Thumb, never had tool insurance or checked into it. Have you? With prices I couldn't replace if needed. I checked into it. I need to check back into it. That the old shop supposedly he'd added coverage for all of our tools. Obviously we never, we never collected on it, but he says he had our tools covered. He asked for lists of tools, but I do need to look back into it. There are some good companies. If you search, tool insurance on my channel, there will be a video come up that has a link in the description for a company that I did talk with years ago, and they seem like a very good company. When I talk to them, it's not an affiliate link. It's not, I have no financial one way or another, whether you go with them. But I don't even know if there's, they still offer that insurance, but there was a good link to there was a good link to a insurance company that specifically covers technician tools. So contact them, and that's something that probably needs to be on my to-do list as well. Charles Johnstone, let's be honest, Milwaukee makes money. Yes. Milwaukee Tools definitely makes a lot of money. But there's other tools that might make him more money. Just saying. Priorities, it's, and the reason I say that, Charles, is that a lot of kids, they're borrowing a, $100 tool from you all the time. They get on the tool truck and they buy a new Impact because it's shiny and green or orange or whatever. Just using that as a reason, because that was something I've saw several times. And then they're still borrowing that $100 tool from you, and even though they just spent $600 on an Impact. So that's why I say prioritize tools. John Campos had some advice up on holding pry bars. He's got from Harbor Freight. I'd slide onto my slide top snap-on box, hold the pry bars. So I guess they go in the groove. You always need at least one giant pry bar. It's MG. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't own a 6-foot pry bar. I don't own a 5-foot pry bar. My biggest pry bar is like 4 foot, and I almost never use it. In fact, yeah, no, I have 2 of them now. I guess the one Snap-on. No, I guess I traded that in. Because, yeah, I did trade it in because I traded in all my pry bars. But all my pry bars now sit in my roll cart. Yeah, because I traded in. So I never use larger than the 4-foot one that's in my roll cart. Sunex wobbles. Amazon's fine. Sunex will warranty them. They don't care where you buy them from. Sunex will just warranty them. Chris, I just bought a new Epic toolbox, roll cart, and hutch because my current box is getting too full. The main reason for the purchase is my dealer was able to sell it with discounts applied for 60% off. Pretty good deal. Thanks, Helen. You want a big pry bar. My buddy blew $128 on a Snap-on 3/8 wrench only because it's pretty green. Now he's over his head with the Snap-on, man. Yeah, that's why I talk about budgets so much. I've had people, it's like, oh, who cares? And, you're like, dude, I've seen so many young kids where, it's literally hand the Snap-on guy their paycheck. It's almost that bad. Landing Customs, hello, brother, new subscriber. Well, welcome in. Appreciate you stopping by. But yeah, that's why I talk so much about money. Is because so many people get into this career and then they get so excited by tools. We all love tools. Don't get me wrong. I love tools. But, it's so easy for young new technicians to just get so overwhelmed with tool debt that they get out of the career, not because they didn't like it or anything like that, but they literally can't afford to stay in the career. They hand the stuff back to the tool dealers. They wipe out a chunk of the debt. They pay a little bit extra to get rid of it if they don't care about their credit. And then they get a regular job because they got overwhelmed with how much they owed on the tool trucks. As Landon Customs Classic says, the vampire trucks will suck you dry. Yeah, that's the stuff I try to prevent, is because a lot of these young technicians do it. They get on the truck, they start buying and buying and buying because, oh, it's only $5 more a week. Oh, it's only $5 more a week. And then before they know it, they're paying $200 to, two different tool trucks, and they have no money to live. Larry Burns, what's best tire inflator? Astro Pneumatic. Astro Pneumatic. Don't buy it through Matco. Buy it through Amazon. Buy it through Astro Pneumatic. But that's the best one. 128 kind of cheap for Snap-on, I think. I mean, how do you get off the truck for only $128? I mean, that Snap-on guy's slipping, man. He should have got at least $2-3 out of somebody. Paulo, we lost our Mac dealer last year, and my broken Mac stuff is piling up. Anyone tried to warranty it by mail? Yes, you're fine. Mac will take care of you. Just contact them. Send it to them. They'll warranty it, no problem. Charles, looking at all the tool flyers and what they're selling stuff for and what I already have, and everything I'm looking at that I already own is literally double or triple what I bought it for. Dude, it's no lie. They've gotten so crazy with pricing on the tool trucks. It's like, it's just crazy. Landon Custom Claxes, I buy a lot of tools at pawn shops and auctions. Yeah, a lot of those tools at pawn shops come from people that struggled in the auto repair industry or are currently struggling. I'll tell a story about a former coworker, and he horrible with money. And he would pawn tools all the time, not sell them, pawn them. Like, I think one time he bought a tool off the tool truck and immediately pawned it for quick cash because he already had to pay the tool dealer kind of stuff. But it's usually pretty people, there can be some really good deals at pawn shops. When I started, I bought a lot of stuff on pawn shops. My original first 3/8 Impact was bought at a pawn shop. Or rephrase that, my second. My first one was bought at a thrift store. My Mac that I used for years took a beating, kept on coming back until it finally died. But yeah. Larry Burns, thanks. I'm tired of the Milton one I've been using. Work with some people that had real problems with Milton's tire gauges for whatever reason. I don't know why. They're the air people. I don't know why you have problems with their air gauge, but they apparently do. That wasn't anything about you, but he was ready to throw the thing across. I think he literally, let me rephrase that. He literally threw it in the trash because he was so sick of it. Landon Texton makes good affordable tools made in the USA. Pretty sure they're not made in the USA, dude. I think they're made in China. or Taiwan. I'm sorry. My friend just sold a huge loaded toolbox 6 foot tall for $800 at her pawn shop. Jeez. T. Corrales, problem with a lot of mechanics, new or old, mainly new, is that they get caught on the up on the name and where it's meant and always say it's worth it. Yeah, okay, keep telling yourself that. I actually find that it's more of a old guys my age and older are really bad at that. And there was good reasons when I was coming up, because there was such a vast difference in quality between the tool dealer stuff and the do-it-yourselfer stuff. And so that's where a lot of that prejudice comes from the old guys, because of my, love of tools and testing tools and all that. I don't believe that, anymore. I've seen a lot, like Bam Bam at the old shop. He was a Snap-on whore. Straight up Snap-on whore. It said Snap-on. It was better than anything else. And whatever, he could afford Snap-on, so, but I've never subscribed to that theory that because of a name it means anything. Like, I will say, Snap-on's wrenches are still probably the best wrenches out there, but there's a lot that are really close. And, Matco's swivel impacts, I will say, are the best that are out there, but there's a lot that are really good. It's to say XYZ is better than everything else because XYZ is just a fallacy. But, there are genuine products that are better than other ones, but it's stupid just to assume because it says that name that it's better. It just doesn't work that way. Reality is quality varies. Reality is, there's just as good stuff out there. To give a example, a lot of people say Matco sockets are junk. The Matco USA stuff are junk. Really? Because I use the crap out of them. They're fine. They're as good as the Snap-on sockets right next to them. Or Astro Pneumatic or, any of those other brands. I've used Astro Pneumatic or Gray Pneumatic axle nut sockets on a 3/4 impact and has done nothing other than actually break the axle nut loose. So it's just, I think that problem's getting less and less, but their obsession with names is unfortunately a stupid thing to think. So I do agree with you, but that was a long-winded way of saying all that. MG, trust me, the guy who just got the 33/8 Snap-on ratchet already had about $30K with that Snap-on truck. Ouch. Oh, wow, I'm way behind. Toolaholics Anonymous, yeah. I buy cheap and never have warranty issues. Yeah, but it was pretty green cushion grip. Yeah, no, I've seen guys just go nuts, especially green. Like, I will buy some orange tools, but I'm not going nuts. Like, I joked when I bought the Matco air hammer is because I bought it because it was orange. No, I genuinely wanted to test it because everybody said I owned a Snap-on. And it's like the Snap-on's better than everything else. And I'm like, let me give it a try. And it was slightly stronger. At this point, It's probably still a little stronger, but I usually use both of them as about as much. So, but if it comes in orange, I'll buy it in orange, but I'm not buying something just because it's orange, is what I'm saying. T. Corrales, don't get me wrong. I like to buy American or Tool Truck when I can, but I try to keep my tool account to 1K max. Good thing. Landon Custom Classic, just about a $200 Milwaukee drill with a $150 battery at the pawn shop for $20 because it sounded bad. Traded drill in at Home Depot for a new one. MG, I really missed my half-inch drive Ingersoll Rand. Boy, I missed that gun. I still own my half-inch drive Ingersoll Rand. I had 231, a 244, and then a 2135 Ti. The titanium plastic one was the last gun, half-inch drive that I bought. Gave the other ones to new starter techs, so they could get started with something. But yeah, I still have my my half-inch drive. Yeah, every now and then you need air. Eric Souza needs some Allen sockets. What is good brand for starters or pro grade? Vim or Sunex, depending on what size you are going with. Vim is really good for Allen sockets. If you're looking for like 17, 19 in hex, Allen. Sunex has some really good impact ones, but that's where I would go is Vim. Larry Burns, I agree with you. With who threw Milton in the trash. Yeah. Oh, Texton has a decent selection of USA stuff. Cool. I that's what I thought, MG. I didn't think Texton had anything that was made in the USA, but I don't know. Makes 22 in the 20. Texton makes 22% in the US, I guess. Okay. I don't know. I'll have to look into that. Snap-on horse. Crow's feet, dead blows, and others. So their dead blows are made by I can't remember the name. Trusty-Cook. Because those are US made. Crow's foot, I don't know, but the dead blows for sure are Trusty-Cook. Because actually, yeah, I do know that. They do have Trusty-Cook rebranded dead blows. That's where the US on that stuff is. MG, all my buddies that work at shops have Snap-on for 30 years. All I ever had was Craftsman. I did just fine. Paulo, Snap-on wrenches are absolutely the best. You know. Rich Thumb, haven't even had a credit card. It's 20 years, 2 Snap-on loans in the 90s. Learned me. More stigma back then. Shops wouldn't take you seriously without a Snap-on tools or box. Yeah. He's actually not wrong about that. Like I went to go work at one shop, and I was actually it was the last shop, and I had a Husky box before I got the yellow Matco. And I showed up with the Husky box at the shop, and I was unloading it. And my old boss was like, "Is that your toolbox?" I'm like, "It's one of them." Because I also had my roll cart in my excursion. But he freaked out thinking that was all I had. Like, no, there's the tow truck. But yeah, that is, MG, my Craftsman forged in USA wrenches are freaking awesome. Landed Custom Classics. Most of the tools I break is because I use them for the wrong job. Larry Burns, I'm 57. Back in the day, I couldn't get low dollar tool quality. I have 3 big 54-inch boxes and a service truck full of tools, mostly Snap-on from way back. Guys don't know how lucky they are. Yes, I've talked about that, Larry, before. Is back when we were coming up, because you're only 7-8 years older than I am, there really wasn't good options in between the DIY stuff and the professional. And now, I mean, hell, I can go on Amazon and get really good quality tools the next day, which you just could not back then. Steven, I've used a little bit of everything, really never really had any problems working HD diesel. My M12 shit. It's the only stuff that has given me issues. Have had a set of Harbor Freight wrenches I beat on for 6 years. Good for you. Happy. I mean, it's there's stuff out there that Quick Wrench says Texan is U.S. made here in Michigan. Most is Taiwan. Boxer U.S. Canada. MG had to use my 12-point half-inch drive chrome vintage Craftsman 32 millimeter to crack off my axle nut because that's all I had and it didn't break. Did just fine. I will look for Harbor Freight. Joseph Espinoza, I didn't do this for 44 years for the money. I love doing it, but you need money for bills. Yeah. Yeah, I love working on cars, but my paychecks stop. I'm going to stop working on cars. Paulo donating tools to New Tax. I appreciate it. I have no problem passing on stuff that just sits in my toolbox, does nothing. Yeah, I can trade it in and get a couple bucks, or I can help a kid that, doesn't have a couple $100 extra bucks to buy that tool and they just get it. I mean, I'm sorry, that's what I should do. In my opinion, I never had any, just like on borrowing tools. You're in the shop, you need a tool, borrow it. I don't care. Just put it back clean and not broke. More stuff about Tecton having some US Day. Like I said, I know for a fact their dead blow hammers are Trusty-Cook. Jake, yo. I'm just saying, one day you may do this from Charles. One day you might do that. One day you might do this. One day you might do that. By one day. Make a decision, make today that day. Charles, I'm an old guy too. Paulo, I've worked with some techs who could F up a anvil. So have I. Larry Burns, yeah, just ordered 3 Astro tire inflators. Be here Saturday, LOL. Then the Milton Bash Party cigar and nice whiskey. Awesome. Robert A, what's the best coolant filler? Vacuum filler? You're not going to like my answer. Snap-on, Cornwell, Matco, Mac. They're literally all made by the same company. They do not have any way of buying them retail. The only way to buy them is off the tool truck. They do not sell them anywhere else. Those are the best lasting because they use the standard Stant style adapter instead of the weird, funky Amazon Astro connector, the caps that tend to melt and stuff like that when you use them as a pressure tester. So my advice is hurt and buy it off the tool truck because those are literally the best ones. Daniel, love being in a tech as a second career. Thank God for military retirement. I'd be doing something else. Well, good for you. Do something fun in your retirement. Steven Sonex is probably one of my favorite brands. Warranty process is great. Break a tool, a lot of Torx and diesel land, and Sonex has gotten me taken care of. That's awesome. That's always awesome when a company actually takes care of what they sell, because a lot of companies don't. MG, I work on office copiers and little IT stuff, and I charge $125 an hour. Can't imagine how auto tech not making close to that. Well, shops make close to that. A local auto shop rate is $120 an hour. Dude, 200 is not uncommon anymore. Arbor Day, thanks. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Robert. That's the way of the world. I have tried and tried and tried and tried to find anybody that sells that stuff outside of the tool truck. Nobody does. They do not sell. The only way to buy their adapters or anything like that is to be a distributor. They do not sell them. I wish they did. Because trust me, I spent days trying to find the plastic adapter kit they make that I have. That's Matco. Everybody has it branded as theirs. Jake Ledman, Milwaukee warranty is garbage in my experience. Please elaborate. I don't have anything to do with their warranty, but let us know what your experience was. Because, I can't, I can't say how good or bad it is depending on. There's always extending, I don't know. I don't know your experience because I don't have your experience, but it can be very considerably depending on the avenue you took or whatever. So Buff Kid, hey, my shop started to lay off technical that refused to take a pay cut. Why are they cutting pay? Why are they cutting pay? Is the shop slow or something? Because they can go. Steven, I have Master Cool. It works. Okay. Because most areas are it's easy for a tech to find a job than, just saying. Milwaukee isn't like Harbor Freight. No, the biggest problem with Milwaukee that I've heard of is buying through unauthorized distributors is one of the biggest problems. Is you buy it through Amazon because it was sold through it's usually sold honestly when you buy it through Amazon, which is wild because the prices aren't outrageous. It's usually sold twice before it gets on Amazon because it was sold by authorized Milwaukee dealer and then sold to somebody else and then sold on Amazon. And a lot of times it's already out of warranty because the just time. Like literally I've heard multiple cases where literally the tool was out of warranty just because when it got sold by the original dealer is when the warranty started, and then it went to, it stayed on a shelf or whatever, got sold, and then when the guy used it and it eventually broke, it was out of warranty. But, I've heard other problems with serial number problems, but, MG in Maryland, M in Maryland. Yes, the shops are a bit slow right now. I know some guys that got laid off recently. It's the Biden effect. Go Brandon. Jake Ledman, I sent my gun for a broken anvil. Everything else was fine. I set it in under warranty. They said it's electrical abuse and denied my claim. 170 for rebuild, 90-day warranty. I got the tool. I mean, that sucks. I don't know. I don't have any insight into that. I've honestly only had... I had one tool that I paid for that was weird. Every now and then it would lose torque, but it was very inconsistent. But I haven't had any warranty issues with my Milwaukee stuffs. Jake, back in a bag in a million pieces, that shit does suck. I will 100% agree with that. That is BS. But you know, I don't have any control over that, and I'm sorry you had that experience. Buff Kid, what's a good slide hammer brand? If you want the best, Mueller Cups. That is the Mac Daddy slide hammer, period, end of story. Mueller Cups. It's expensive. After that, the OTC one, it really isn't worth it anymore because it's Chinese. Just buy the gear wrench model. It's pretty much who everybody sells nowadays. It's probably made somewhere over in Taiwan. But if you can't afford the Mueller Cups one, buy the gear wrench is what I would recommend for a slide hammer. Steven, Matco carries Milwaukee now. Maybe they can help you out if you're cool with your dealer. Jake, I'm sorry, man. I do hate that crap. I've heard that before, that they decline warranty and then they send it back apart. You know, I don't get that either. Blake Lynn, what's the best version of the Streamlight Stinger? I don't know. I'm going to say the orange one. If you're looking at this style, I recommend you get one that does not have the button at the bottom. See, this one says dual switch. I assume this is the model you're talking about. You want the HL, but not the DS. You do not want that bottom switch. That bottom switch fails all the damn time. So that's the one I would get. Does that. MG, I buy Milwaukee tools. They are authorized from Home Depot because they are an authorized dealer. Mall Runner turned in his M18 12.0 with my Matco dealer. It's been 6 months and still don't have my battery back. That sucks. Yeah, sorry for, Jake, it sucks. Chris Parman, I just received a 3-piece set of gear launch locking flex heads. The gear drive has a lot of play side to side. My new Snap-on flex head and new Williams raft drive has little play. You pay for quality, man. You know, gear wrench, they're better than some, but not, you know, they're based on the old Matco design, but, you know, it's quality. I don't. Chris, I've owned predominantly economy wrenches and sockets my whole life. Now that I'm older and financially able to afford name brand options, slowly replacing the older tool. That's cool. MG, I paid my shop guy $60 to press in a new bearing and hub on my knuckle. I think it was a good deal. Yeah. Chris Parman says, I'm never buying gear wrench ratchets again. I've only used a handful of gear wrench ratchets. I think my last gear wrench just disappeared. So I don't think I have gear wrench ratchets anymore at all. Jake Liedman, I recommend everybody getting a tracker on your boxes, hide it somewhere. That way, if it gets stolen, you know where it's at. The problem with that is most times they don't steal the toolboxes. Toolboxes take too long to load. They're going to break into your toolbox and steal your tools. The toolbox isn't worth stealing. Most times they're just going to steal what's in the box and probably do a crap ton of damage to your box. So, MG, I'm a DIY guy. Do I need a slide hammer? If you're asking that question, probably not. 9 times out of 10, when I use a slide hammer, it's for when I'm doing press and wheel bearings. That's about the only time I use a slide hammer. So, probably not. T. Corrales, I can only speak on Milwaukee's hand tool warranty. Mind you, I buy all my stuff from Home Depot, Acme, or Ohio Power. They ask my name and where I purchased from, and days later it's on my doorstep. Declan Farber, my experience with Milwaukee has been pretty good. Corey Stinger's never left me down. Had one survive about an 18-foot drop on concrete. Robert A., what do you think of Olights? I've used Olights for many years now. Batteries are probably their biggest weak point. They last forever, but when the batteries die, they die. And they did have a problem with exploding batteries, but the lights themselves are great. The biggest problem I had with Olights is I've had like 2 batteries just dead. I had one light that didn't survive coolant from Olight, but it sat in coolant for like 20 minutes because I didn't realize it rolled into there. Corey, agree with no bottom switch. It's a pain in the butt, and your disco light your friends in the shop on accident. Yes. If you want to get, Steven says, if you want to get into a fancy light, check out Malkoff. Got the tactical lights, huh? Yeah, those look a little expensive. Pilot bearings, yeah, nickel, yeah, that's a Matco ratchets for the win, hell yeah. M12 Rover. I don't have one of the Rovers. I've got the Rover's good. I've never owned it, but it's got the same head has the articulating Milwaukee light that I do have, and it's good. I use it all the time. Jake Liedman, gear wrench X-beam wrenches are great for people with sore hands. They discontinued the X-beam wrenches, dude. Nick L, pilot bearings sometimes. Yeah. Anthony, have a 90-tier gear wrench, 3/8 metal handle. MG, I like the pretty green Pittsburgh ratchet, but it's so cheap. I'm scared to try it. You know. Declan Farber, Brandon loves you and cares for you. Cross him at your peril. He's not Hillary. Daniel loves his gear wrench ratchets and 1/4 inch and 3/8. MG, I tried a small tactical light that appeared well made and the switch broke. I went back to my mag light. Steven, I have 120 XP long reach ratchets. I love them, but try not to go crazy on them. Yeah, I mean, I've reefed on my Matco long ratchets, and when I'm starting to bend the handle, I tend to go to get the 1/2 inch or 3/8, depending on which one I'm using. But yeah, no, once they start, flexing and you're putting a lot of force on it, probably a good idea to go up to the next step or an actual breaker bar. Because, all right. Anthony, in my opinion, 3/8 Pittsburgh Pro ratchets are good enough. Surprising. Hey, my thing about ratchets is it's a very, very personal thing. If you like them, you're fine. But I don't want to tell people what kind of ratchet to buy because everybody's different. I mean, we've had people that love their Snap-ons. I love my Matcos, and they fit my hands well. I broke my 3/8 and they warranted no problem. Did take like 2 weeks though. That kind of sucks. All right. We got any other questions? All right, I guess we should go ahead and jam what's going on with this NASTF. It's be the third time I've talked about it. They are working with scan tool manufacturers, aftermarket scan tool manufacturers. For anything security related, you will have to have a special license, which includes insurance, a background check, etc., etc. So online or offline, you will have to log in with your credentials in order to do anything on an aftermarket scan tool security related, adding keys, adding, all keys lost, etc., etc. So anything security related, they're putting basically behind a paywall. It's not really pay per service, but it's pay to get the approvals and licenses. MG, any thoughts on Nico impact sockets? Very limited interaction with Nico. I used a Nico socket somewhere. It seemed fine, but it's extremely limited. I think I was using somebody else's tool. I was helping somebody and they had a Nico socket and I was using it and it was fine, but that's about it. Looking for long pattern wrenches, any mid-grade deals out there. Long pattern are harder to come by. And especially in combination, like you can get, like Gear Wrench has long pattern standard wrenches, but I don't think they have long pattern like regular combination wrenches. So I don't know of anything off the top of my head other than like Stalinwall. They have long pattern wrenches. They're not chrome. They're actually really premium. They're German made. Stahlwall. It's STALWALE. They have log pattern wrenches, but they're not chrome. Really good quality. Is Nico South Korean? I think so, but I'm not sure. Nico is manufactured in China, so it's a Chinese brand. But that's who I would look at. Let's see if I can find something. Stall wheel, I should say. Ratchet and sockets. Wrenches. Like here is the company I'm talking about, Stall Willie. Long pattern wrenches. They're really, really good quality. So don't be afraid. They are a not an American brand. But they are really good. If I'm not mistaken, Eric O has a set of these. I don't know if he still uses them, but that'd be who I would recommend if you're looking for a mid-tier brand. They're $300 compared to, $1,000 for probably Snap-on. So that's who I would go on those. Yeah. Jam LSID different from VSP? Yes. VSP there's two VSP licenses, and if you have an LSID, you're fine. Put in your LSID, you're good to go. Blake Lynn, do you have asked, do you have any Hazit tools? I have like 2. I don't have a lot of Hazit. For no reason other than I haven't bought anything really from them. It's kind of random stuff that I have from Hazit. I've got like random tools from, various of those kind of brands. Eric Zoza, Nebos flashlights are good for the price and 2-year warranty, as well as they have intensity setting for lighting. MG just got a new caliper and bracket unit by Robestus from Rock Auto. It's a nice unit. Haven't touched anything from Ray Bestos in years. Opinion on the Power Probe 3000. The short finder is what you're asking about. Limited experience. A technician had one of these I worked with. I think it might be the older model, not this one, because I think this is the one they just came out with. So I don't have any experience with this one. I have experience with the older one, I believe. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I messed with it. It was incredibly situational. Whether or not it was able to actually find the problem you were looking for. And I assume it's kind of the same concept. Like if you were, again, may not be the same model, but it seemed like if it was like in a bundle of wires, it would not find the short. The signal would be transmitted through kind of all the wires, and it wouldn't show you a short. Like I found the short and broke the wire, and it still said there was no short there. So limited experience. So I don't know if that one's better, if it was the same one or not. Same concept for sure, but I don't think that was the one I used. So that'd be it's gonna be one of those situations. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. So, but I'm pretty sure it was the older model, not that model. So had not used it if it's that current model because it looks different. All right. I guess I'm going to go ahead and call it now. So appreciate everybody stopping by. On the way out, hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it. And as always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.